Christ, that is a rookie error. Okay, that should look a little bit better. You don't have the moss ball that's trying to interfere with the screen now. Anyways, in this video we are going to be talking about calories, how to calculate your own for whatever goal you have, and yeah, but first I'm going to tell you why they're important, why you should even bother thinking about calories in the first place, and why you should probably focus on the side that is eating calories rather than burning calories. Okay, so you've just heard me mention that we're going to be talking about the calories that you eat rather than the calories that you burn. To most of you, or to some of you, this may have made the world of sense. To some of you, I may be talking absolute nonsense. It all comes down to something known as energy balance. All energy balance is, you can imagine it like a scale. If you tip the scale one way, you're going to gain weight. If you tip the scale the other way, you're going to lose weight. Basically, on the two ends of the scale, you have eating your calories and you have burning your calories. If you are burning more calories and therefore tipping the scale this way than you're eating, so you're burning more than you're eating, you're going to lose weight. If you're eating more than you're burning, so this side's heavier because you're eating more than you're taking out of your body, you're going to gain weight. That's all energy balance is. Basically, that is everything you need to know in terms of gaining weight and losing weight. That does not include anything like body composition, so therefore that means if you're likely to gain fat or to gain muscle, that will come down to the macros and also the size of your surplus. The surplus is if you're in a surplus of calories, you're gaining weight. If you're in a deficit of calories, a calorie deficit, you're losing weight. Now, before we go into all of the fun stuff about the calories that you're eating, I do want to quickly brush over why we're focusing on the calories that you're eating and not necessarily calories that you are burning. This basically comes down to the makeup of the calories that you are burning. What makes up the calories that you're burning is your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. All that is basically the amount of calories that you'd burn if you were in a coma. So if you weren't to do anything at all during the day, you weren't to move at all, that is how many calories you would burn. Naturally, your body does burn calories throughout the day, just in terms of internal processes, keeping you living, keeping you working, ticking over until the next day, and therefore not dead. Okay, so the next thing down is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, aka your NEAT. What this is all of the calories that you burn through moving, through going about daily life that aren't actually exercise or like exercise per se. The most common form of NEAT is probably your steps, the steps that you take throughout the day. Therefore, you can adjust your NEAT levels through aiming for a higher step target, aiming for a lower step target. Depending on your goals, you could burn less calories and therefore make it easier to gain weight, so therefore you might drop your NEAT expenditure. Or on the other hand, if you want to put yourself in a bit more of a deficit and kind of up your calories burnt, you can increase your step count. Obviously, this has its limitations. You can't go around walking 100,000 steps per day. However, they are still a useful tool to use when dieting. Okay, so the third thing that makes up your calories burnt. Wait, what is the next thing actually? So you got your BMR, your NEAT, you got your E at the top. Then what's the food one? Okay, so the third thing is your TEF, which is the thermic effect of food. This is the calories that you're burning when you're digesting food. So, for example, if you were to eat a slice of cake, that cake being digested is going to burn a certain amount of calories. Don't think that you can just aggressively eat your food and then that's going to cause you to lose more weight or up your calories burnt. Doesn't work like that. It's literally more of your internal processes that you don't really have too much control over. And the fourth and final thing that makes up your calories burnt throughout the day is your EAT, which is your exercise activity thermogenesis. Now this is where your cardio comes into play. So for example, if you were to think, I want to start losing weight and therefore I'm going to do more exercise, such as running or cycling or walking on the step mill. All of these things make up your eat, which, as you can see from the diagram, that isn't too much of your calories burnt. You actually can't actively change that much through your calories burnt. Obviously you can do a lot more exercise, however you've just got to be conscious that this is a small percentage of your total calories burnt throughout the day, and it's going to be a lot easier to play with the other side of that scale, i.e. the calories that you're putting in your mouth and you're eating. And that is why you should be focusing on a calorie deficit through maybe adjusting your diet as opposed to just running for 3 hours a day. So to wrap this whole first part up, it may be sensible to focus on the food that you are eating as opposed to the calories that you are burning, as this is likely to show you a bit quicker results and maybe a bit easier to maintain as well. This is not to say that cardio is bad in any way, shape or form. Cardio is great for cardiovascular health, keeping that heart healthy. However, all I'm trying to say is if you're trying to put yourself into a deficit through a diet, focus on the diet and don't focus just on the amount you're running and think that you can outrun or out cardio a bad diet. It won't work, and it definitely isn't sustainable. Honestly, I don't need anyone to tell me that it looks like I got dressed in the dark. I am fully aware, and these are the warmest items of clothing I have, so give a fuck. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I've recorded this I think 3 times now, and every time the audio has managed to fuck up, so we move. Anyways, all I was trying to say was it's cold, I'm wearing leggings that I bought for Iceland and I'm wearing in the UK at the moment. That should give you some perspective as to how cold it feels at the moment. However, I would recommend the leggings because yeah, they are a godsend and they've saved me on my walk today. Anyways, moving on to the more important stuff. Why do I go on a morning walk? I go on a morning walk because I've got 12,000 steps to hit a day. That's my target at the moment. If you remember from earlier in the video, I was mentioning NEAT and your NEAT expenditure, and you can kind of adjust that to kind of fall into a deficit or cause a bigger surplus. The reason for my NEAT being so high at the moment is to basically make a slight deficit without having to bring my food down too much. And the reason for that is to put me in a decent position for when the gyms reopen, so I can go back to gaining and I can do it from a leaner state, and therefore I can gain for longer without having to pull back and diet back down because I've gotten too fat. So yeah, the 12,000 steps I usually hit through a combination of 2 to 3 walks per day, and today it is Valentine's Day, so I'm getting to do my last walk with my girlfriend. Yeah, it's lockdown at the moment, so that's all we can do. We can do our daily exercise together, socially distanced of course, and yeah, so I've got that to do today. I've got some editing to do. Hopefully I can get the editing done, and hopefully this recording, hopefully the audio is lined up, but otherwise I might just lose it. And yeah, also at some point today I've got to do my home workout. I hope all of you are still doing your home workouts, because you should. Something is better than nothing, and you'd be surprised at what you can do even just with body weight. Like, I have 2 dumbbells that amount to about 15 kilos of weight, so not much at all, and I can still get a decent workout in, and you can definitely get a decent workout in with body weight exercises as well. But yeah, as I've mentioned, I've got a couple of bits to do today, so I'm going to get into them, and then I will see you later where I will wrap up the topic of calories, and I'll also wrap up the video. So see you then. Okay, so the next thing we're going to bring up is calorie calculators and why you should watch this video as opposed to just googling calorie calculator, putting in your age, height, weight, etc. and using the number that pops out. The short story of it is that those calculators aren't always the most accurate. However, they can be a good guide. To be honest, if you wanted my advice, I'd say if you've never tracked your calories before at all and you want a rough estimate of where to start, use them calculators and take an average of a couple of them. Don't just go with one and take that as gospel. Overall, I just want to make sure that you know that these calculators are never going to be perfect. The only way that you can truly find your maintenance calories, i.e. the calories that you need to sustain your body weight with your current lifestyle, is through trial and error. So that moves me on nicely to how I would suggest you calculate your own maintenance calories, by using something like MyFitnessPal to track what you're already eating, and then also weighing yourself alongside this daily to see what that amount of food is doing to your body weight as it stands, as you are right now. So all we're going to be changing now is weighing ourselves daily. If you're not already, I'd suggest weighing yourself first thing in the morning, preferably after you've been to the loo, because then that's going to give you some consistent readings when you kind of compare day to day. And then on top of this, we're also going to be tracking our food, but we're not going to be thinking about it too much. What you want to do is just treat your days like normal. Everyone's going to eat food in the day anyway. All you want to be doing is putting it into MyFitnessPal, so then at the end of the week you can look at how many calories you've eaten roughly on average throughout the week, and you can compare that with your body weight. If your body weight has gone up, then that suggests you're in a surplus. If your body weight has gone down, that suggests you're in a deficit. And if it's of course stayed the same, that suggests you've got your maintenance calories. To be honest, that is the best way to find your maintenance calories, as the calculators are never going to be perfect, as I've already mentioned. Now, you may be wondering why it's so important to try and find your maintenance calories and why these calculators are trying to spit out your maintenance calories. Basically, from your maintenance, you can then adjust them to put yourself into a slight surplus or put yourself into a slight deficit. So therefore, from your maintenance, you can decide on what goal you have and then change things depending on that goal. If you are looking to be in a surplus, what I'd say is take your maintenance calories and then add an additional 200 to 300 calories per day. If you want to be in a deficit, however, I'd say reduce that number by 200 to 300 calories per day. Some people will need more, some people will need less to see results, but that is what I'd say to go off of initially at the very least. Now, one other thing you may be wondering is how to adjust these calories and how to know you've actually got things right, because of course you don't want to be gaining weight too quickly, because it's likely going to be just fat that you're gaining, and you don't want to be losing weight too quickly, because then you're going to be losing muscle and not just fat. Now, if you're looking to lose weight and therefore be in a deficit, what I'd say is aim for the amount of calories that's going to allow you to lose between 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week. Of course, this is a rough goal and it's going to depend on you as an individual massively, so please do take everything with a pinch of salt. That is a message popping up, I apologise. Now, on the other hand, if you're looking to gain weight and therefore bulk and put on some muscle mass, what I'd say is aim for increasing your body weight per week by 0.25% to 0.5%. The vigilant among you will notice that this is a slightly slower percentage increase than what I suggested for the deficit, and this is purely down to the fact that you are going to lose fat quicker than you'll be able to gain muscles, so therefore you need to be a little bit more gradual with your bulk or your surplus than you would be with your deficit or your weight loss journey. Hopefully you can take those numbers and apply them to your own situation. Be warned, it does take a couple of weeks and the numbers will never be perfect. Don't expect to find your calories that are going to hit the nail on the head 1% every single week if you're losing weight, 0.5% if you're looking to gain weight every week. It's nearly never going to happen, so just be warned, it is a case of trial and error and you will get there. Now, another point to mention is that your calories will change as you gain or as you lose weight. For example, if you initially set your diet up with a 300 calorie deficit, therefore your maintenance was here, your current calories are here, 300 calories underneath. What's going to happen over time is that your maintenance calories will fall because you're naturally losing weight and therefore you need less calories to just maintain that body weight. And if you were to stay at your set calories, your maintenance is going to come too close and you're no longer going to be in that 300 calorie deficit. You're probably going to be quite close to maintenance. So what may be the case is you need to drop again and therefore create that deficit again. As I mentioned before, you can create this deficit through exercise as well. So if you didn't want to drop your food 300 calories, maybe you can try upping your steps by, say, an additional 3,000 to 5,000 steps per day. Or you can try doing some more intense form of cardio, for example, cycling, running, or if we had the gyms open, we could say stepping on the step mill or the treadmill. Hopefully this has given you some clarity around the topic of calories, and you can now go away and apply it to your life. What will be coming after this is a video on macronutrients. So at the moment we just have that top goal of calories, how many we should be eating, how many we should be trying to burn to create our deficit, to create our surplus. But then what comes next is what goes into those calories. So how many of those calories should come from protein, how many should come from carbs, and how many should come from fat. That video is coming, and yeah, hope you look forward to it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and if you're enjoying the content on the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you've liked this video, please drop it a like down below. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment or DM me on Instagram. As always, the Instagram will be in the description below. And yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video on macronutrients.